virtual meeting of the Historic Districts Review Board. This meeting is now called to order. May we have a roll call, please, Melissa?
Yes, Chair Rios.
Here.
Vice Chair Katz.
Here.
Member Beachside.
Here.
Member Bienvenue.
Here.
Member Guida.
Here.
Member Larson.
Here.
Member Roybal.
Here.
Madam Chair, you have a quorum.
Thank you. Board members or staff, are there any changes to the agenda?
Yes, Madam Chair. I have a couple of changes that we have to make to the agenda this evening. The first change is under findings of fact and conclusions of law. It's the second, it's case number 2020-002480-HDRB, the second 512 Acequia Madre Unit C case. We inadvertently forgot to eliminate that from the list because that case was postponed.
Okay, thank you.
Second,
Any other changes?
the second change of the agenda is that we'll be having to table the first case under action items this evening due to a noticing error. And so that case will be heard at the next hearing on October 13th. So this evening, we just have the one case at 113 Washington Avenue.
Okay, thank you. So any further changes?
That's all.
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Member Benvenue seconded. Thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote, excuse me. Roll call vote, please.
Yes. Member Beachside.
Yes.
Member Bienvenue.
Yes.
Member Guida.
Yes.
Vice Chair Katz.
Yes.
Member Larson.
Yes.
Member Roybal.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you very much. We have minutes of September 8th, 2020. Any changes to any of those minutes? Board members, we have Member Beachside.
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of changes. The first is on page 19. In the second paragraph, it reads, Member Beachside thought, could you please delete the proposed walls on? So it reads, Member Beachside thought the streetscape of Don Gaspar is uniform. And then in the the fourth sentence, she recalled a previous discussion pertaining to the status of this property about similar yard walls on the street.
Okay.
And then in the next paragraph, the third sentence begins, its location on the lot is what? If you could please replace what with one of the unique characteristics that makes this house contributing.
Okay.
And then on page 22, under the motion, the last line on that page, Member Beachside said that it is not, could you please replace the proposal with part of the application?
Okay.
And then on page 68, the second to last paragraph, in the second sentence, it reads, there seemed to be a lot of effort. If you could please replace that with there did not seem to be a lot of effort.
Okay.
And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Beachside. Member Benvenue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 18, I would ask that on the third line, the word permit be replaced with the word provision. And then on line 10 of the same page, replace the word asked in past tense with the word asking in present tense.
Okay.
And then on page 42, at the last full paragraph, second sentence, after the word design, add the word guidance.
Okay.
And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Member Katz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On page 27, the third paragraph from the bottom, the gray is not a match to the graveling. I think that should be gavaloom.
Okay,
And gavel, there's another one in the next sentence.
okay,
Then on page 45, on the motion, the penultimate sentence, it should be except, not accept.
accept, okay,
And then on page 67, on the second paragraph of the board discussion, can you add after revisioning preservation the word seminar?
okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Board members, thank you for your thoroughness in reading those minutes so that they can be accurate. Melissa, I have two very short
Okay.
ones. The first one is on page 25, the fourth paragraph down. The second sentence should read as follows. There are other buildings, delete the word metal. There are other buildings in town with metal roofing. And the rest of the
Okay.
sentence is fine.
Okay,
Then on page 62, the second paragraph should read as follows. Terrio said that does not make sense. The board is looking at an entire structure, but can only look at this case for its height? Question mark.
okay.
And that's all I have. If there are no further changes, is there a motion to approve the minutes as just amended?
Barrio approve.
Beachside second.
Thank you. Roll call vote, please.
Yes, member Beachside,
Yes.
member Bienvenue,
Yes.
member Guida,
Yes.
Vice Chair Katz,
Yes.
member Larson,
Yes.
member Royball.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you very much. Under findings of fact and conclusions of law, we have 9, and that is with the exclusion of case 2020-002420 located at 512 Asica Madre.
I'm sorry,
Unit C.
that's actually, we're excluding 2480, not 2420.
Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm very sorry. 2480, which is, yeah, it's the same address, but I was giving you the wrong case. Okay, are there any changes to the remaining 9? Member Beachside.
Thank you. I just noticed one typo in the findings of fact and conclusions of law for case number 2020-2422 at 806 Don Gaspar. Just in finding number 32, toward the end of the sentence, it refers to the front hard. It should be yard.
Thank you, Member Beachside.
Thank
Any
you.
other changes, board members? If not, I will entertain a motion.
Move to approve all of them with the amendment.
Second.
Roll call vote, please.
Member Beachside,
Yes.
member Bienvenue,
Yes.
member Guida,
Yes.
Vice Chair Katz,
Yes.
member Larson,
Yes.
member Royball.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you very much. Any business from the floor? Let me see who we have here.
Madam Chair, we have John Eddy and Stephanie Benato.
Yes. Mr. Eddy, you have the floor.
I hope you can hear me now. Yes.
We certainly can.
Thank you, Madam Chair, board members. I just wanted to bring up something that I have noticed on Canyon Road. Right after you cross Delgado Street as you're going eastward up Canyon Road, the second property on the right, which would be the south side of the road, is a vernacular river stone building that's really quite striking in its diminutiveness. but on the wall of that building fronting the street is a neon sign. And I know this may not be necessarily your purview, but I'd like to see or like to hear staff's response to the fact that there is an active neon sign on Canyon Road. Thank you.
Thank you. And I think that's not the only active neon sign on Canyon Road. I think there's another one down the ways on the left-hand side. And Lisa, can you comment on that? Does the ordinance prohibit neon signs?
The sign ordinance has specifications about when and where neon signs are allowable and where they're prohibited. I would like to state for the record that any complaints about compliance issues should be lodged through our online CRM system. Stating them at a public hearing really is not the best avenue to get action on them. I am not aware of that issue, so I'm honestly caught off guard, and there's no way for me to look it up or provide an adequate response at this time. I don't have an address. It's very difficult to address these kinds of things at a hearing.
Thank you, Lisa. So, John, if you can do that, if you can get online and address and indicate your concern about the neon signs and send it to preservation, would you do that?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Anything else, Mr. Eddy?
No, thank you.
Okay, I recognize Stephanie Benenato.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, hi, Stephanie.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Fine, thank you. I also just want to bring something to your attention. I actually have filed a complaint or a concern, I would say, really, about this. And I asked if we could do a screen share. Is that possible to do?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just kind of try to figure this out. Yes, go ahead.
I'm going to have to promote you to the panel. You can't do it as an attendee, Stephanie, and I will ask that you keep it brief as possible.
Yes, I will. I just have about 5 photos that I want to share, and I can do it, I think, pretty quickly.
Okay, just a moment.
Thank you. Okay, so I guess I'm in there. Do I have to do the video to do screen share?
No, you should be able to share your screen.
Oh, just on the computer. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. So now can I do this?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to point out some things. I brought this to your to your attention before, and I do believe, excuse me, that I'm sorry, I'm losing my voice, that I filed it with the city. And this one here is one of them.
We're not seeing
Not
them.
sharing.
We cannot see anything, Stephanie?
I just put it up. Can you see it now?
No.
Nope.
Share your screen by hitting the share.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't do that first. So I want this. Okay. Sorry.
If these are the.
Yep, there you go.
you're
Okay,
coming
good.
on. Okay.
So this is the one that I'm concerned about. And I think I can zoom in here maybe. Let's see. Yes. You can see here that first of all, this wall is in poor condition and it's been filled in. I don't think with a permit. I brought this to the attention when I expressed a concern about 845's building permit, which the staff did go to, but I have another concern that was never addressed. This fencing is falling over, and as you can see here, it's actually wired into the wall. So when the fence falls over, the wall is going to be further damaged. Mr. Makino came out, but apparently this wasn't on the list to look at, so that didn't happen. Then we also have, let's see.
Stephanie, we're just seeing your folder.
Yeah, I know.
Not the actual images,
Oh,
They're
you're not.
actually large.
just the thumbnails we're seeing.
Can you click on the thumbnail and have it come
I
to your whole screen?
did. I thought I was. Can you see it now?
No, it's just the thumbnail.
Okay, I'm really sorry because I can see it and I'm sorry, I don't know how to make that happen. Let's see, can I enlarge it this way? No, that's not what I want to do.
And Stephanie, excuse me, did you indicate the address?
I don't know the address of this. I would have to go, but this is West Houghton Alley. Okay, and it's obvious it's between Don Kubero and
Oh, there you go.
Senna. Oh, am
So
I there now?
Stephanie, I put up the first one that you had because I actually saved these a meeting or two ago when you had asked for these photos.
Okay. Okay.
So this is the first one you wanted to show. I'm not sure if you wanted me to pull up another one. I've got about 4 on my desktop here.
Okay. Okay, good. So anyway, right here towards the left of the photo, you can see the wire that's actually attached to the fence, and the fence is falling over. So the wall's going to fall over or be damaged more. And really, I think some attention needs to go to this wall. I don't know. I'd have to probably go on to Senna maybe to get the address, but I'm not sure that I would recognize the building from that side. The other one, let me try again just to do mine because this is a more current one, Sally, but it is the one of 845 Don Kubero. If I can't get it up, I'll let you know. Okay, so let me try that.
I think if you open it up first, the picture large, and then hit share screen and select the large photo, that should get that
Oh,
too.
okay. Okay, great. Let me try that. I will stop that for a minute and then I will do this. Thank you for the instructions. Okay, let me do this. See if it works. No, that's not the one I want. Okay, that's up, and then we do screen share. And I want you to share this. No, I want you to share. Okay, now the old one is up, but not the new one. So, okay, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do screen share. Where are you? Screen share. I don't see it coming up. I see the old one up at this point, the one you already showed, Sally, but that one's not coming off.
Yeah, we're not seeing your screen at all right now.
Okay, well, I'll just have to describe them then to you. I'm sorry, because I think I can't do a tutorial on your time. And so, oh, here it is. I'm sorry. It's a new, I just had to refresh it. So here we are. This is 845 Don Kubero. And the permit was actually for 845B Don Kubero. It was on a gate. The gate was removed. This building, they came into you a long time ago and got approval, but there is no permit on there. And there is stuccoing going on. That's not what really concerns me. It's the windows. And you can see that they're in very poor condition. And this is, I believe, a primary facade. This is what Gary, one of the things I thought was going to be addressed when they came out, but maybe I wasn't really clear about that. And again, I really think that needs to be addressed. And then I just have one more to show you. So let me go to that. Try this screen share. This is at 700. This is in the 700 block, maybe 701 or 703. I didn't get the exact address. This is Buena Vista, West Buena Vista, in the Scalistale. This was a 6-foot fence actually and got red tagged. And then they came in, I guess, and got administrative approval to make it 4 feet. First of all, I mean, I'm always disappointed when they don't require uneven lengths of the fencing. But more importantly to me is I understand that it is a completely, what do I want to say, okay, administrative approval on one level. But in terms of the streetscape, it's like the streetscape is never considered by the staff. Because if you look down Galisteo, what you do see, not this rock wall, but you see retaining walls all the way down. Because right at this block on Galisteo, it's a hill. And so a lot of the houses are slightly up the hill and they have retaining walls. By putting this there, it really changes the character of that street. And the same is true of going down West Buena Vista on this side. Now on the other side, there is coyote fencing, but there's no retaining walls. The other thing about this is a very narrow street. It's already really difficult to see, traffic coming and going in this area. And again, I understand they can approve this, but I think that those kinds of things, I wish the staff would consider the streetscape when they give an administrative approval. And if it isn't really congruous, with the streetscape, that they would at least then say, well, I think we recommend going to the board, because this really changes the streetscape there. And that's my opinion. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you. Lisa, would this type of concerns be more beneficial if they came to your office in writing?
Yes, Madam Chair. In fact, we have an online portal for lodging such complaints and tracking them through constituent services. And that really is the best way to bring issues to our attention. Again, at a hearing, there's no way for me to follow up, to do any kind of research. And I would highly recommend to all members of the public that they utilize our public portal through constituent services to log complaints. Because what I do spend the vast majority of my days doing is responding to emails and responding to complaints. And that is really not the best use of my time in that manner. We have one inspection and enforcement officer for the entire 5 historic districts. I also want to stress that we cannot follow up on every single nonconformity in the historic districts. We do our best to address the most egregious concerns, the most immediate concerns, and address nonconformities as applications come to our attention. But there is literally no way we can handle all of them. So if you want to lobby for more staff for the land use department, that would be fantastic. Otherwise, lodge complaints through the constituent services office, and that's the best way to track them.
But it's more effective if they're done in black and white to the city, correct?
Absolutely, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Do we have anything under communications?
I have nothing, Madam Chair.
Sally, nothing? Thank you very much. So this evening, ladies and gentlemen, we have only one case before us. And I do have to inform the applicant that if you disagree with the decision that this board makes this evening, you do have the option to appeal to the City Council. That would be done after the findings of fact and conclusions of law have been approved. You have 15 days after that to file your appeal. So with that being said, we will hear Lisa's case, which is 2020-002548, located at 113 Washington Avenue. This is a non-contributing building, I believe. And Lisa, may we hear your case, please?
And Madam Chair, may I ask the applicant if there are any others who need to be promoted to the panel at this time? Are there any other attendees that need to be promoted to the panel? Or is it just you, Richard?
I'm not sure if there's anyone else. There may be. We had the discussion today. So Brad, Lutz, or Carl could be here.
Okay, I have Lutz. Okay, I will proceed with my report.
Thank you.
So, Madam Chair, members of the board, 113 Washington Avenue is a commercial hotel structure that was constructed after 1945 in the territorial revival style, when it was previously known as the State Securities Building. The building was substantially remodeled in 1989 in the Spanish Pueblo revival style and was adaptively reused as the Inn of the Anasazi. In 2014, the board approved window replacement throughout the structure in case H14-25. The building is listed as non-contributing to the downtown and East Side Historic District. In March of 2020, the applicant came before the board with a proposal to construct an addition to the rooftop level of the building to a height of 56 feet, for which an exception was requested to exceed the maximum allowable height of 20 feet 1 inch. At the front third of the proposed rooftop addition, the design included an outdoor event space with tiled decking, seating, retractable tan canopy on dark bronze rails, an informal lobby area, elevator overrun, stairwell, and storage space. The middle third of the proposal included an enclosed lounge and bar with kitchen and restroom spaces designed at the exterior in the Spanish Pueblo Revival style to match the existing structure. The rear third of the proposed addition space included a rectangular pool and tile deck framed by 4-foot-high stuccoed walls, wood-framed cabana structures, a retractable tan canopy with dark bronze rails, a stairwell, mechanical and storage spaces, and an outdoor fireplace and seating area. The board found at that hearing in March of 2020 that the criteria for a height exception had been met and approved the application with the following conditions: that the front 3 chimney massings shall be eliminated from the design and that the existing chimney stacks at the west elevation shall remain in their current locations. Condition 2, that the size of the event space shall be limited by the distance that the building code requires to the space to be from the westernmost chimneys. And 3, that the applicant shall submit new drawings to staff for approval before seeking permits. The applicant subsequently appealed this decision to the governing body, who ultimately upheld the board's decision to impose conditions on the approval. Now the applicant returns with a revised design with the intent of complying with the conditions of approval specified by the board in its previous review of the proposal. The revised design was presented to staff for review. However, staff felt the revisions were sufficiently different from the previous design as to require additional board review. The applicant proposes the following modifications to the original design in order to comply with conditions of approval. Now, I will point out that these drawings are set up with the previously approved on the top and the proposed on the bottom of the drawing. So item 1, the westernmost chimneys are labeled on the plans in their existing locations. And I'll point those out here. Where they will remain. Other chimneys in the front third of the rooftop design had to be consolidated into new chimney massings for practical reasons. And this will be more apparent in the elevations. The middle bar lounge massing, this is item 2, the middle bar lounge massing has been moved to the east to create a more usable event space at the front, resulting in the reduction of the pool area in the rear. The floor plan of the bar lounge has been revised to accommodate the altered layout of the rooftop additions. The windows in the bar lounge have also been relocated and their size altered to avoid existing flues. And item 3, the retractable canopies over the pool area and the event space have been removed. Movable cabanas will be utilized as furniture in the pool area instead of the canopy. At the front event space, a new shade structure is proposed, and it is designed as an open ramada / trellis made of dark bronze colored metal posts and beams, natural stained wood lattices with rust colored cut metal panels between the wood lattice sections. And staff will defer to the board as to whether the application meets the conditions of approval from the previous case. And that previous case is 2020-001600-HDRB in compliance with section 14-5.2 D and E. And I'll just go through the drawings once again. So this is the roof plan. This is the existing roof plan. This is the proposed roof plan.
That was previously
That is wrong. You have the wrong drawing. Sorry, Lisa.
The previous, I'm sorry.
You have the previous, yes.
I must have grabbed the wrong one. My apologies. But we do have it here. So this was the previously approved plan, roof plan. This is the proposed roof plan. Now we're looking at the north elevation, previously approved, with the conditions that were placed to modify this front chimney massing. And this is the proposed north elevation. You can see the chimneys are pushed back towards the east. but they've had to be reconsolidated for practical reasons. And I'm sure Mr. Martinez can provide us with additional detail about that in his testimony. You can see here the proposed Ramada structure in profile. This is the rear elevation, approved and proposed. And south. Boy, did I get this one wrong too? I did. I pulled the wrong one.
Yes.
I was doing too many things at once. This is the, I can pull it up separately from this slideshow. This is the front elevation, originally proposed and currently proposed. And then I will show the details, examples that you've provided, that the applicant has provided to demonstrate what is being proposed for the shade structure in the front event space. I think I will stop for a moment and pull up the set of drawings as an independent exhibit. I apologize. Had too many files in the same location, I guess. So just a moment and I'll pull up the full set of drawings. Ooh. Okay, so now I will share the screen again. Probably should have just done this in the first place. So this is the new set, correct? September. This is the set that does have all the stippling though. That's why I was dealing with too many files. So previous roof plan, current roof plan, previous north elevation, currently proposed north elevation, the rear elevation, which doesn't change a great deal. And then on the south elevation, you can see this is the front of the building that was required to be redesigned. This is the currently proposed redesign. You'll see that the existing chimneys are there in their original existing location, and the reconsolidated chimney massings along with the reconfigured central massing. And then this is the front elevation as previously proposed and as currently proposed. So with that, Madam Chair, I apologize for the confusion about the drawings. I do stand for questions.
Thank you. Lisa, you indicated in your report that perhaps some of the conditions that the board placed on the applicant were not necessarily quite met. Can you indicate what those are?
Well, Madam Chair, I wouldn't say that they haven't been met. I'm just deferring to the board to evaluate whether or not they've been met. The reason that I did not approve the changes myself is because there's a new shade structure proposed to this front event space that I felt like was a new element that required board review. I will just note, there is these are the chimneys that were required to remain in their existing location, which they have. There is some redesign to the surrounding walls to the event space. So I am not indicating that they have not been met. I am simply deferring to the board because the chimneys,
for that clarification.
The chimneys have had to be reconfigured and reconsolidated, and as I said, the applicant can give us more detail about that. But for practical reasons, the chimneys have to function in a way that makes sense for the building and for the customers who will be spending time in this event space. So that's the primary reason for the chimney reconfiguration. and then moving the entire central massing back and reducing the pool space, again, having to reconfigure chimney massings. Those I think are the primary components that need board review and approval.
Thank you. From a visual standpoint, Lisa, would you say that the new drawings are less impactful than the previous drawings?
Madam Chair, I do believe that what is being proposed has a less of a visual impact from the street, simply because there's less weightiness in that the front chimney massings that were such a problem for the board. There were 3, I don't know if you recall, there were
Yes.
initially, I think there were 3 chimney massings along that west facing facade, or maybe and then they were consolidated into one large chimney massing, which was very imposing on the streetscape from, as you're looking up at the building. Now this entire event space is set back. I believe it's 10, maybe even 15 feet from this front facade. So we can look at that from floor plan. So you can see how much it is all set back. So I think that the visual impact has been substantially reduced. I think what the board needs to weigh is whether or not the height of the proposed shade structure in this event space is going to have a negative impact, or if it will sufficiently sort of blend into the background.
Thank you, Lisa. Board members, does anyone else have questions for Lisa? Buddy, you have your hand up.
Yes, thank you. I'm very pleased with the changes that have been made, especially eliminating those big chimneys on the streetscape. I think they've done a great job of pushing everything back. You almost would really have to look very closely way up there with the existing buildings in the north and south, that you're not going to hardly see these changes. So I think they've done a great job of complying with the request of the board. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, Member Roybal. Member Guida.
Thank you. Lisa, just a quick question, just for clarity. This case was actually presented twice before. Is that correct? The applicant came with an original design, responded to board comments, and then it's now showing again.
That's correct. It first came before the board, I believe, in February of 2020, and then the final decision was rendered in March of 2020.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, it appears not. Applicant or applicants, would you kindly get sworn in? Richard and anyone else?
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Thank you. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
Richard Martinez, 1524 Paseo de Peralta.
Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Are you the only one that's going to be representing the case this evening?
I guess so.
Okay.
But so Lisa, if you can switch to sheet 2.0. Okay, so the drawing on top was the old application, and what I had done was move the chimneys that were existing right behind the parapet back to the chimney that was the lobby chimney. Now on the bottom sheet, those chimneys right behind the parapet are shown, and the lobby chimney, which is 14 feet back from the parapet, is also shown, and that's the one that we have to make sure that we're clear of, because that is the one that's in the middle of the portal. That's the one that is that we have to stay 10 feet away from. So I moved the parapet back, not just because some members of the board were saying, oh, it's already 6 feet back, you just have to move another 4 feet back. No, that's not true. I tried to explain that. I moved the middle of the deck back 10 feet away from that chimney, which is 14 feet back from the parapet. So it moved a total of, well, it moved another 16 feet from where it was before. And then I was able to, on the sides of the deck, move a little bit forward, but as you might imagine, the further I move forward, the less they're a part of that space. And so I also made a little low mass in the center, right in front of the chimney that is existing, to hopefully block the visual aspect of that, because the chimney is a few feet below the top of a low wall that surrounds the deck. So it is so that chimney, that mass of the fireplace is not high. It's only 5 feet high off of the deck, but it blocks the chimney that's down below on the rooftop, the existing rooftop. Now, the fact that I had to move everything back meant that I lost 569 square feet on the event deck. And so I moved, I had to accommodate 2 people from each room, let's say 120 people. And so I moved the center lounge, the center enclosed part of the building back 1 bay, which is 16 feet. And that made the pool area smaller. I took the space out of the pool area. It also meant that I wasn't able to do this structure that was holding up a movable canopy. And so I eliminated the canopy over the pool, but over the event space, I put a canopy that would be a trellis, let's say, a permanent trellis over the event space. And so I'm proposing that trellis consists of, and it's in my packet, consists of wood panels in areas and broken up by metal, rust-colored metal panels that would be cut metal. They would, they're made for shading devices, and they would be with Indian designs, not with this sort of Hawaiian flower design. But this was a good illustration of what they would look like on the roof. The wooden panel, the wooden trellises that I have between those are shown an example is shown on the top, but again, it is, there's no roof on top of it. It allows the light to come through the wood panels so that it breaks up that event space and provides some shading also. I tried my best to meet the exact stipulations that were set by our approval. I think that all of the intended results were met, but I had to sort of move some chimneys because I no longer had structure that I could depend on and have the chimneys sort of divert into those existing tall structures. And so I had to make structures where there weren't any so that I could get those chimneys up above the roof line for our new space. I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Richard. Board members, questions for Mr. Martinez? Let me see. We have questions from member Katz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Richard, I'm looking at page A33 of yours that shows the west elevation. And this makes me realize why we shouldn't allow this at all. It's so clearly much taller than its neighbors. That said, I think we're beyond that decision now. What I am concerned about, and last time you had a very nice graphic that showed what it would look like standing across the street on the sidewalk on Washington Avenue. And my sense is that it's much better now, but I don't, do you have a graphic like that? It's not in the packet. But you're looking up at an angle that would mean that a whole lot of what is on the roof there in the event space is blocked. But I don't have a sense of how much of it is blocked.
At the end of my letter, I said that please note that the west facade, the street facade that I drew, looks very similar to the old drawings because it consists of some of the same elements and the same heights, but those are set further back, and that is not illustrated in the elevation that I showed. I do not have any renderings of the facade because we made those changes in plans and elevations, as you see. The illustration was intended to show, but it is just moved back, and some of the same elements are there, but they won't be as far to the street as they were before.
My question is, what do I see of the roof area that you've designed standing across the street on Washington Street? Do I see anything? Do I see the roof on the event space? What do I see?
On the opposite side of Washington, I'm not sure that you see any of it.
That's what I would love to get a clear answer on, something that, I mean, I tried to sort of figure out what it would be from the drawing, but I didn't do a very good job and I couldn't figure it out. And I think that's something we would really like to see. I mean, I know we will see it standing on the plaza. You're going to see this. You're going to see the south elevation, but it's going to be pretty far away. And as I say, I think we're beyond worrying about that now. But the whole concern was the front and what you would see standing in front of it, standing across the street and in front of the old library there.
With all due respect, we weren't asked to eliminate any visibility of our structure from across the street.
With all due respect, it would be nice if we could see what the visibility is, to see whether it's minor and therefore okay or not minor.
And Richard, you indicated that you are going to be going 16 feet back from the front of that, what is it, third story? That's where
In this, oh,
right,
sorry.
in the new elevations, that's where
Yes, 16 feet but from where it was before. So
right.
the total, it was 6 feet back. So now it is 16 plus 6, 20, what is it, 22 feet back?
Oh,
Yes.
so now it's 22 feet back.
In the center, on the ends, I moved it 10 feet back. So it is 6 plus 10, 16 feet back on the ends.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. Let's see, Buddy, member Roy Hall.
Yeah, Richard, I guess the hardest thing is when you look at the drawings, the way it seems like it's in your face, but you're right. If it's 22 feet back, the chances of you really noticing this structure, I think is going to be very limited. I mean, So also the south side and the north side, because especially on the north side with the other building and the south side with the other building, I think everything is going to be very limited on what you're doing. So I, again, I'm very pleased with the drawings, other than they do stand right in your face because they're not dimensional. And if they would have been dimensional, I think it would have helped us all.
Madam Chair, I will point out just in elevation, it's probably where you can see the step back that Mr. Martinez has created the best. And if you compare it to this chimney massing that was so objectionable to the board in the previous proposal, that chimney massing is no longer there. And you can see that the perimeter wall, the 4-foot high perimeter wall, begins just after that chimney massing had been eliminated. And then here you see the shade structure coming up off of the top. But as Mr. Martinez said, this is all set back. This edge would be set back 16 feet from this front facade. This smaller chimney and low massing is set 22 feet back from the front facade. And these other chimneys have been configured as is most practical for them to still be used. So,
And if you can also realize that when I said the parapet, that is the parapet at the roof. The building steps forward or just sort of steps back as it goes up. So it's not, it's further from the street. It sets back 8 feet basically from the base of the facade to that parapet already. So it steps back and back and back.
Thanks for pointing that out. Member Guida.
Thank you, Chair Rios. Just a few points to make on this project. I think since the beginning, I've been a fan of this proposal from the standpoint of increased density in the downtown. While it seemed initially that this was a big move, and it certainly is a big move, both in terms of square footage and in terms of cost, I think that the idea of the Anasazi, investing in our downtown and doing so instead of, some alternative of, moving somewhere else to have a pool or knocking a building down somewhere else to have a pool at ground level. I think that the ambitions of this project are terrific. I think it's incredibly difficult to design a rooftop pool on an existing building. And I applaud Mr. Martinez for all of the 3 different proposals that he's come forward with. They all took a great deal of skill to figure out technically. And I think all are in evidence of a desire to integrate this additional mass with the existing building in a sensitive way. I think each time that the board has approved this, we have approved the general idea of the project and have put conditions on the detailing of that. I am really troubled by the notion that the test of whether this board approves this thing is that it doesn't, it's not visible. That to me is not what it's not the path that we set down. It shouldn't be a test for any project. We saw last time in the last presentation where Mr. Martinez did shift the front of this patio and the chimneys back a substantial amount. We saw the worst case scenario outlined in a photo collage from the street. That was satisfactory. I think there were some additional comments just about the mass of the chimney. Those have been addressed, and those have been addressed at a significant cost to the owner and in terms of time and effort as well by the architect. We've seen in this iteration that the entire upper story has been redesigned. And so, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with the amount of work that's gone into this. I'm impressed by the amount of effort that's gone into addressing the board's comments. I do not want the board tonight to change the goalposts on this project. We asked for something specific last time. in our decision. And in my mind, this has been more than met. I was actually a fan of the design from last time. So Mr. Martinez, thank you. It's really great.
Thank you, Member Guida. Member Katz.
Thank you, Chair. I beg to differ with you, Anthony. Visibility, particularly when they're seeking to raise the height limit from 21 feet to 56 or 57 feet, is a very important part of how it looks in the historic district. That's why we have height limits. And so I think it is very important. I share your feeling that they have done a really, really good job. Is it you know, I ask my colleagues on the board, am I off base in saying that, you know, you can tell me the 10 feet back here and the 6 feet back there and the 8 feet back there until you're blue in the face, and that's not going to tell me what I want to know, which is how visible is it? What does it look like from the street? How does it fit in with the streetscape? And, you know, if you all think I'm wrong to want to have a visual that tells me that information, let me know and I'll shut up.
Sally.
Members of the board. I just want to comment that this is still a continuation of the previous application, and the exception has been granted and is still granted for height. And so at this stage, the real question is whether this application does in fact meet the conditions that were previously imposed in the granting of the exception. So I do think, although certainly when we're granting a height exception, we do look at whether there's damage to the streetscape. That's absolutely a criterion that the board can and should consider for an exception. For height, in this case, the exception is, we're sort of past that stage. So I just want to ask the board to please kind of stick with the sort of narrow scope of what's here tonight, which is, does this revised proposal meet the conditions that were attached to the exception that has already been granted?
Thank you, Attorney Paez. Board members, any other board members wishing to comment? Member Guida, you have your hand up. Is that from last time or you need to say?
No, I think I put it up again. This is an unremarkable building in the downtown district. You know that this was a 60s modern office building before it was adobified. You know, I agree. The ship has sailed, and the board has approved the height issue. And I just can't see. I understand. I understand Member Katz's point about visibility being important, but invisibility can't be the standard for approving projects. And so, yeah, we're going to see this thing. Are we going to see 3 massive chimneys? No, that's apparent in the drawings. To me, this is the criteria that the board has set in its last decision have been met. And again, quite elegantly and with great effort.
Thank you, Member Guida. Any other comments or questions of board members at this time? I do want to say that visibility does play an important role in any project that we see. Obviously, that is one of the factors that is really quite important in any project that we see in the historic districts. Visibility does play an important role in the review of a project. With that being said, I am going to ask for public comment. Let me see who has their hand up. Stephanie Benanato.
Thank you very much. I too appreciate all the changes.
Stephanie, I need to swear. Stephanie, I need to swear you in.
You will be. You do have to
sorry.
be sworn in, Stephanie.
Yeah, okay.
Forgot that.
Thank you. Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please state your name and address for the record.
Stephanie Benanato, P.O. Box 1601, Santa Fe, New Mexico. I appreciate the efforts made for these changes and, the fact that it was pushed back. I have a couple of comments. I think that it is absolutely appropriate to wonder what it's going to look like. It's not saying that you're not going to approve it if you can see it, but I think it is important for the board to understand what that design actually does to the streetscape. I myself would like to know a little bit more of this so-called shade structure. Is it a shade structure? Is it a ramada? What kind of beams are being used? Is the metal work flat? Because I think the example looked like it was sloped. How heavy are the beams? In other words, how visible is that going to be? And then I think my other comment really, because there are new elements in this design that I think it's appropriate for the board to comment on and look at. And that is that on the west facade, I don't mind that they have all those French doors there, but on the other facades, they've put in what look like French doors with little fake balconies, and they don't really fit in with what else is there, the size of the windows, things like that. They just feel really inappropriate. And so that I would ask you, I think one was on the north facade and maybe I'm sorry, maybe south facade, but they just stick out. Thank you.
John Eddy, you have your hand up as well, and you do need to get sworn in.
Do you swear under the penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is John Eddy. Address is 227 East Palace Avenue, Suite D, Santa Fe. Madam Chair, board members, I agree with much of what has been said here. I heartily want to commend the architect and the owner for going to great pains to do this redesign of this fourth story. And I think they have made great strides, and the best of which are the result of removing the massing of the chimneys on the north and south corners of the west facade, which I think was one of the most egregious things of this early building, and one of the things that really detracted from the streetscape to begin with. So I'm very grateful that that has been done. I realize that some space has been lost in the pool, but I think that's a pretty appropriate place to scale back ambitions here, to be honest. And so I commend the architect. I do also agree that having a visual representation of the west facade from the sidewalk and a perspective from the sidewalk really would have been the icing on the cake here. And it possibly, quite possibly, would have eliminated a lot of the discussion that's had to take place. So it's unfortunate that that was not provided, but it's up to the board to decide whether or not they want to push for that. So I leave it to the board to continue. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Reddy. Anyone else from the public wishing to comment? It appears no one else. Board members, do you have any further comments or questions? Mr. Martinez, I have a couple of questions. Can you tell us what the depth of the balconies are on that north elevation?
The balconies are just like 6 inches from the facade. There's no balcony. It's just a rail, so that the windows are allowed to go low to the floor. We've copied the detail of the balconies. I'm sorry, of the railings on the street facade and the windows on the street facade. So
you are mimicking something that is already existing.
Yes, exactly. Also, I just want to comment on the lack of renderings. We were expecting only to go to the staff, and so we prepared a packet that would go to the staff, and they determined that we had to come back to the board. So we didn't know that we were going to have to do that.
And Richard, would you comment on the color of the metal metal colors on the Ramada?
Oh, sorry. Yes, I said in my letter to the board that they would the metal would be dark bronze colored metal posts and beams and rust colored cut metal panels.
Okay, thank you very much. Board members, if you have no further questions or comments, let me see, we have Mr. Roybal. Buddy? You're muted?
And there I am. I'd like to go ahead and if there's no other comments, move on this case, please.
Yes, go right ahead.
Okay, in case 2020-002548 HDRB, address 113 Washington Avenue. I'd like to go ahead and move that we approve this, that the application has made items 1, 2, and 3 as requested before on the approval, that they have been met and the any exceptions on the height had already been approved, so that we move and approve this.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Member Guida, I second.
Thank you. Any further amendments or comments? None being, all those in favor of the motion, we will hear a roll call vote.
Okay, Member Beachside,
Yes.
Member Bienvenue,
Not having been involved in the original approval or the imposition of conditions, I will abstain.
Member Guida,
Yes.
Vice Chair Katz,
Vice Chair Katz?
Was muted. Yes.
Member Larson,
Yes.
Member Roybal.
Yes.
The motion has been approved.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Martinez, and good luck on your project.
Thank you very much.
Okay, board members. Let me see what we have. Anything under discussion items?
We have nothing under discussion items, Madam Chair. I will just give everyone a heads up that we do have 10 items on the next agenda on October 13th. There's an extra week in there. So just be prepared for another long hearing next time.
Okay. Okay, any matters from the board? No matters from the board. Guess what, friends and neighbors? We are now adjourned. So have a good evening, and Lisa has a chance to go celebrate her daughter's birthday. So we'll see
Happy
you all.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to all you.
And we'll see you all next meeting. And
Thanks,
stay
everybody.
safe.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Good night.
Goodbye, everybody.
Everyone.